Today we're going to talk about AI trading bots for cryptocurrencies, the free ones, the green bots. We're going to see if these kinds of bots are actually profitable, if they're not profitable, if they make you money, if they make you lose money, if they're really worth it or not. That's what a lot of people are wondering. Here in my community, we've been talking about these bots for almost 2.5 years now, since they're bots that are completely free, meaning they don't cost you anything. Just by being registered with our trusted exchange, which is Bitget, of the best exchanges worldwide, you can use these kinds of bots completely free of charge. Additionally, with the registration link, you get a 10% discount on all the trading fees for any transactions you make within the exchange. And you also have several trading bonuses that you can use even to try out these bots. These bots, as I've mentioned to you many times, in the 2.5 years we've been using them, that is all of 2023, all of 2024, and so far in 2025, they have generated an average of approximately 1% per day for us. This is the average. It doesn't mean that every single day we make exactly 1% daily. There are days when we earn much more, and there are days when we might even lose a little, but in the end, the overall result is positive at about 1% per day if we look at the balance. That will be 30% per month or 365% per year. In other words, each year, we literally triple or even quadruple our money with these bots. Even a little more because we apply the law of compound growth, which in the end has meant that in these last 2.5 years, literally, at least in our case, we have multiplied our investment by 5 over these past 2 years. And in this year, which we are already halfway through, it's very likely that we'll do the same again or even more, because we're in the year of the bull run, where we've seen good increases at the beginning of the year and then maybe more good increases at the end of this year. So today, I'm going to explain a bit about how they work, what these types of bots are all about, and whether they're really profitable. Because it's very important to keep in mind that if you use these bots for just one day, and on the first day, if you happen to have bad luck and things don't go well, what are you going to do? You're going to set it aside, and you're really missing out on an opportunity. You're letting the chance to make money automatically with the free bot slip by. Because many of these bots are being sold by companies. They're charging you monthly fees to use these bots. They're selling you the bots directly for 500 euros, 1,000 euros or dollars, whatever it may be, but they're charging you for them. Here you have them 100% free on Bitget. The only thing you have to do, I'm going to share my screen, is, as I mentioned before, you go to the registration link that you have down here in the description of all my videos. You register on Bitget, and once you've registered on Bitget and of course deposit your funds, you go to the trading bots section up here. And here in trading bots, you click on green bots. There you have green bots for spot, or of course you have green bots for futures. The ones we use are the futures bots, since those are the ones that provide the returns we've been talking about. In spot, the returns are lower. Obviously, spot is much safer, much less risky, but the returns aren't as high as the ones I've mentioned here, like 1% daily. However, with futures, they do. And these bots don't use extreme leverage. That is, these bots use 5x leverage, the AI ones. It's true that we also configure them manually, because that's also an option I'll show you in a moment. And by configuring them manually, you can set them to 10x leverage. Many times, I personally set these bots to 10x leverage, but if you use the AI option, which doesn't require any knowledge, you just connect and that's it. Then they use 5x leverage. So the risk is moderate. Within the risks that exist in the cryptocurrency sector, it's more moderate. Here, just so you get an idea, once you're inside the green bots for futures, which are the ones we use, you have options for both spot and futures. But let's talk about the future ones, because those are the ones that really make money, the ones that actually let you earn. What you need to do is look here where it says AI strategy or manual creation. AI strategy is what you should use if you don't have experience or knowledge. If you already have a bit more knowledge, you can go with manual creation. You can create your own bots for free, all within the parameters you want, whether long or short. What I do is always look for bots. If I'm using artificial intelligence, I look for bots that go long. Why? Because we are in a bull market. Many times if we've had a week of correction or something like that, the AI bots that will show up for you will be short bots. When short bots appear, I don't use them, I only use long bots. Why? Because, as I mentioned, we're in a bull market. It doesn't make sense for me to go short on these assets mainly, right? So I will always go for long bots. In this case, we've selected Ripple and we have several options. We look here for the available bots and we can see that we have a bot for Ripple here called Aggressive Artificial Intelligence. It tells us here that it goes long, meaning it operates upwards with 5 times leverage, and that the average it has given over the last 30 days is an annualized API of 373%. In other words, over the last 30 days, if the profitability from these last 30 days were maintained for a whole year, it would be generating a 373% return. which means that in this last month, over the past 30 days, this particular bot has generated an average of 30%, which would be about 1% per day, just as we were mentioning. Here, you need to keep several things in mind. The minimum investment, obviously, in this case is $3.30. I suppose no one has any issue with $3.30. Normally, people trade with much more. People use hundreds of thousands of dollars or USDT in this type of bot. Here you have the number of users who use the bot. This is important as well, right? Because the more people use the bot, the more reliable it is, meaning there is greater trust in that bot and in the way it operates. In this case, we can see that there are 6,073 people, so damn, it's obvious a bot that more than 6,000 people are using right now, and that's making an average of 1% daily. What more could you want, right? I mean, and it's free, meaning it's a bot that doesn't charge you any fees, no monthly payments, no subscriptions, nothing at all. You look up the bot, and here it tells you recommended duration of 7 to 9 days. What does this mean? It means that with this bot, at this moment, they recommend not using it for more than 7 to 9 consecutive days. Why? Because obviously, as you know, the market doesn't go up forever. It has its corrections. So ideally, it says 7 to 9 days here. Okay, so what would I do? I would lean more towards 7 than 9. I would use the bot for 7 days, stay in the bot for 7 days, let it run automatically. And after 7 days, what would I do? I would go in, exit the bot, and wait a bit to see how the market is doing. Or I would look for other bots with different coins. In this case, we're talking about Ripple. But we could say, hey, look, I've used this bot for a week. I've made, 7 or 10% profit during this week using this bot. With Ripple, or you can use several at the same time. You can use one with Ripple, another with Bitcoin, another with Cardano, another with whatever coin you want, right? You can use several at the same time. But above all, what I'm telling you is this. Make sure to use them when the market is bullish. Make sure they have pretty good profitability. Pretty good, at least around 0.5% daily or 1% daily as a minimum. That's the minimum profitability I would look for. And then make sure that there is real trust in this bot. In this case, we can see that right now there are more than 6,073 active users, which is a good sign, right? If there are that many people using it actively, it means it's a bot that delivers positive results. As I said, it's super important. Don't just trust and rely on joining the first day. And if you have the bad luck that on the first day you don't make money or even lose a little, don't just give up. In the end, it's about accumulating days, months, years, and the overall total is what brings you results. So if you join on the very first day and say, damn, today I lost 10%, what the hell, you know? Today I lost, 1% just making it up. And then the next day you stop using it. Maybe the next day is when you make 10 or even 20%, you know? In other words, you have to keep accumulating days. In the end, the bot is profitable. The bot actually delivers results, but there are days it wins and days it loses. But the overall balance is positive. But you have to give it time, you have to trust the bot. You can't just say, I lost on the first day, that's it, the bot doesn't work, it's crap. No. You have to use it over time. So you use it, you would see here the recommendation is 7-9 days. So I don't know, you write it down in your planner that you started using the bot on such day. And next week, exactly 1 week later, you're going to exit the bot, check how it's doing, exit the bot, and look for a different one. That doesn't mean you exit and just sit there with your arms crossed doing nothing, right? In other words, you exit one bot and enter another, and you start again from scratch. You can go to another one. You go up here, select coins. I don't know, Bitcoin. Let's see which Bitcoin bots are interesting right now. Wow, look at this one. It's really good. Bitcoin long 5 times return to 232% annual APY. That means more than 0.5% per day. Yeah, perfect. What else do we have here? Minimum investment, $10. That's awesome, right? Like we all have $10 to invest. How many people are using this bot right now? 15,000 people. 15,150 people. Wow, this is a trustworthy bot. I think so, right? If there are more than 15,000 people using this bot right now, obviously it's a trustworthy bot. It's a bot that more than 15,000 people are using at this moment and they're getting results. Recommended average duration is 7 to 30 days. What would I do here for 7 to 30 days? Well, I'd stay for about 2 weeks. I wouldn't take my eyes off it for 2 weeks. I spent 2 weeks watching to see how the bot is doing. I'd let it run for 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, I'd check in and take a look. I'd see if there's another bot that could give you a new, more interesting investment so you don't risk going all the way to the maximum 30 days. Or at most, I'd push it for 1 more week. If it's 30 days, well, I don't know, I'd spend about 3 weeks with this bot. Then I'd exit and look for a different one that might interest you more. You have several for all kinds of coins. Here you can scroll down. Look at this one, for example. It hasn't yielded as much, but it still gives a good return. It's also a return higher than 0.5%. In this case, there are more than 2,000 people using this bot, and we can see that there are several bots of this kind. Here's another one right here as well. This one is a little safer. Also, it's recommended for 7 to 30 days with more than 4,697 people currently using it and a minimum investment of $20. You have several options and you have bots for any coin you want, as long as obviously it's capable of trading futures. Let's look for, I don't know, Ethereum. What do we have for Ethereum? Look, for Ethereum right now, the AI bots we have available, the vast majority at the top are short bots. So are we in a bull market? Yes. Are we going to use short bots? Number. So we're going to rule out the short bots, even though the profitability is quite good, but we're going to discard them for now because they're not what we're looking for. Let's keep scrolling down. Look here. Ethereum long with 5 times leverage, profitability of 146. Let's see. It's good, but we'd already be below 0.5% daily. And here, the minimum investment required will be $295. So the investment, the profitability that this bot is generating right now doesn't interest us. Maybe when the market is going up, well, it might be an opportunity that interests us more and we'll look for it then. Let's keep searching. Look at this one here, for example, the profitability doesn't quite reach 0.5 either, but it's pretty decent. The minimum investment is $82, and there are more than 5,000 people trusting this bot, which tells us that really, even though the profitability isn't exactly to our liking, it's still very good, but it's just not as appealing compared to the other returns we can find. But the profitability is quite good, as we can see here on the screen. Do we want to keep looking for coins? We can use several bots at the same time, meaning there's no limit. That is, you can use one bot for each coin or several bots for the same coin at different times. 1 second, I've got a hair in my eye. Let's see if there's another interesting coin that truly interests us. 88, Cardano. Look here. Cardano, wow, maybe a short bot on Cardano could be attractive to us, since in this case it has generated about 600% APY. It's using almost 2% daily, but it's a short. We're not interested at this moment. Why? Because it goes against the market. Damn, I got an eyelash in my eye. So we're not interested. Let's keep scrolling down. They're all shorts. Very good returns, but they're all shorts. They're all short. So no, we're not interested. At this moment, Cardano AI bots are not interesting to us at all. Let's keep looking. Let's see. Solana. We always work, obviously, with established coins. We're not going for, let's say, crap coins. We're sticking with established coins. Here, look, Solana. Here we have an AI bot that works on longs for 7 to 9 days, 218%, which means it's more than 0.5% daily. Minimum investment of $39 and more than 3,492 people who trust this bot and are actively using it right now. Are we interested? Yes, we are interested. If we're interested, we would simply click the use button, enter the amount we want to invest and allocate to this bot, and that's it, we'd start using it. And you can do the same with all the bots you want. Hey, I want to diversify, David. How do I do it?
So how do you diversify?
Well, you would say, look, let's say, I don't know, I'm just making this up. I have $10,000 to invest. So I'll invest, let's say, $500 in 5 different bots, and the rest I'll leave as collateral or for future investments or for future bot opportunities that may come up. That is, never invest 100% of all your capital in the bots. If you have 10,000 euros, which is your total trading capital, you're not going to invest all 10,000 euros. You're going to invest, I don't know, at most 2,500, which you can put into a single bot, or you can split it into 5 bots of 500 each. And the rest you'll keep as a bit of a safety net to protect yourself a little. Or in case you say, hey, a 6 bot has come out that interests me, boom, then I'll put in another 500. Hey, look, I see that this bot in the long term is working quite well. Like the Bitcoin one we saw, there are more than 15,000 people in it. And the returns it's giving are pretty stable, pretty good. So look, for this one, instead of putting in 500, I'm going to put in $1,000 and let it work there. Or I'm going to put in $2,000 and just let it work there. The bot operates on its own. It keeps updating and operating independently. In the end, the great thing about artificial intelligence with these kinds of bots is exactly that the bot keeps generating. 2 to 2. It keeps generating, keeps updating itself. If prices move, the parameters of the green bots adjust, and honestly, it's awesome. That is to say, it's a type of tool that delivers incredible profitability. In our Ohana Trading Club VIP, our free trading club for all of you, we teach how these kinds of bots work, how to set them up, and everything. We also cover the manual ones, which are basically like the AI bots, but with the manual ones, you create them yourself. With the manual bot, you have to move it yourself, set the parameters, you decide the location, you decide everything. The most convenient option for all of you is artificial intelligence. For most of you, if you don't have experience with this, artificial intelligence is the way to go. You simply register on BitGet, deposit the amount you want to invest, choose the bot you want, select it, click to use it, enter the amount you want to use, and let it run and do its job. And I'm telling you folks, right now, there are incredible opportunities. We've been using these bots for 2.5 years now, using them every day, both artificial intelligence and manual ones. The returns they're generating are incredible. Honestly, as I said, we've multiplied our investment by at least 5 over the past 2 years. This third year, we're probably going to do even better because, as I mentioned, being in a bull market, the returns can be much, much higher. As I showed you at the beginning of the year, there were days when some of these bots could generate 15% in a single day or even 20% in just one day, especially around March when we saw all those altcoin surges that started to skyrocket. But also, if you're a bit more conservative, you also have the Bitcoin ones, which, as you've seen, are incredible. I mean, where have you seen, folks, where have you seen a free bot with more than 15,000 active users using it right now? Where the minimum investment to get in is just $10, and the average return it's giving right now over the last 30 days has been about 0.5% daily, a little more, which means a 232% annual return. And that you can be in there working fairly well for at least 7 to 30 days, then exit, look for another one, and then probably be able to come back into this one. Or maybe they update it for you, and it just so happens that they update it and you keep using it without even having to leave. Although I'll tell you what I personally do is I exit and then come back in, or I go into another one and then later return to this one. In other words, I never stay fixed in one place, unless I say, damn, this one really interests me a lot, I'm going to leave it there for a bit longer term and put a bit more into it. But just to see how it performs over the course of a year, and I don't care about the ups and downs. I mean, it really doesn't matter to me, I just leave it there. But in my case, since I do know how this works and I handle all of this on a more professional level, I only stay in for exactly as many days as necessary. Then I get out, look for another opportunity, and I always try to be searching for opportunities so I don't have to endure so many drops when they come. But like I said, don't be afraid of the downturns. Downturns are completely natural, and in the end, what matters is that the overall result is positive. And here, for example, we can clearly see that the overall result is positive, 232% positive, which means at the very least with this bot, we are already seeing that over the course of a year is going to give you a 232% return. That is to say, you're literally going to triple your money or even a little more. This is based on the parameters from this last month, but I can tell you that the past few months have been just as good or even better. We did have a rough month, like in April when we had that correction, but then obviously everything more than makes up for it, because since the bot works with artificial intelligence and updates itself, what happens? I'm going to show it to you here with a chart. Here, for example, when we had this correction here, we're looking at Bitcoin, yes. When we had this correction here, what happened? The bot updates itself at the lowest points, and then, for example, here, when we hit the peak, the green bot updated too long. And what happens then? That this whole upward move starts giving you profit because the bot starts making trades. It buys and sells, 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 and the bit keeps updating. And what happens? Well, in this upward move, if you, for example, in spot trading could have made, let's say I'm not making this up, about 46%, 50% approximately, then with one of these bots catching a good rally, you could easily make 10 times more, no problem. Easily you could make 10 times more just from this upward move. What did I make? 50% in spot. You made a 5-fold or even 10-fold return in futures with the green bot. Besides, it's not like you might say, sure, it's a 5-fold return, but it just opens one trade and holds it until the end. No. I mean, it opens and closes, opens and closes trades for you. The trades happen as the price goes up or down. It drops, it buys, it goes up a bit, it sells. And like that, little by little, it makes a lot of trades for you, which in the end gives you a much higher profit than you'd get by making just one trade, for example. And these bots, really, that's what I'm telling you about. A lot of people don't know they exist, and others ask me if they really work or not. And so here I am sharing my experience with these bots over the past 2.5 years. And also within the club, the Ohana Trading Club, where there are hundreds of our students, many of our members use them every day as well. That is, many of our students are very familiar with these bots, both the AI-powered ones and the manual ones. And in the end, the returns they're getting with these bots are also incredible. There are even people in the club who have told me they make a living from these bots. That is, people who might be retired, living off passive income or unemployed. And what these bots are generating for them is covering all their expenses. In other words, this is just incredible, right? The fact of saying, damn, it's great that these kinds of bots are accessible to everyone for free, that you don't need a lot of money to invest in them, and that the returns they're generating for you are really that high. In fact, even more so, I mean, let's try to make these bots known to people, because I keep seeing more and more bots being sold out there, charging people a fortune with exorbitant monthly fees, and then they let you use them and take a cut of your profits in some cases. Others sell them for thousands of euros, and many people don't know that here on BigGet we have them completely free and with artificial intelligence, meaning it's not even like, here's the bot, figure it out yourself, adjust it yourself, configure it yourself. No. It's artificial intelligence. Just connect it and let the bot do its thing. Let it work its magic. So let's help a lot of people get familiar with these bots. As you can see, starting from just $10, you can literally use most of these. There's really no mystery or complication to it at all. And I'm telling you, the returns they're generating are incredible. In fact, as I mentioned, multiplying your investment by 5 each year, at least in my case, is truly impressive. Despite volatility, despite corrections, despite everything, being able to achieve an average of 1% daily with compound growth is just incredible, folks. So that's it. If you found this video helpful, as always, I'd appreciate it if you give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell since YouTube doesn't always notify us. Follow me on Instagram and join the Telegram group where we keep you updated on everything. And above all, join the Ohana Trading Club VIP, which is free. There you'll find our free trading club where we train you and teach you everything we know about the world of trading with our professional trader who is with you every day, giving classes, sharing market analysis, showing you how everything works in the trading and cryptocurrency sector. And most importantly, register on BigGet so you can put everything you learn into practice, get a 10% discount on commissions, trading bonuses, and be able to use these kinds of bots completely free. All right, with that, I'll say goodbye. Sending you a big hug and see you next time.